Well, hey kids, welcome to Mr. Patrick's Laboratory. I'm super excited what we're doing. I'm playing with some of the things that we did earlier in the week, talking about these cars, these air-powered toys that we were making. And so I was trying to come up with in my mind some things that maybe you can try out and let me know. Hey, if you make your own bottle car or your own cardboard car, would you do me a favor and snap a picture and put it in the video below? I'd love to see it. Some of these things we're doing. What I was thinking is, on my cardboard car, is it faster or slower? Can I make it faster? What happens if I have bigger wheels or smaller wheels? What happens here if I have, well, in my case, my wheels aren't very straight, but what happens if I have bigger wheels or smaller ones? Which one would go faster? Is this one heavier or is this one heavier? There's lots of factors. There are lots of things that you're testing when you're doing your experiment. Try them out. See what happens. It's a lot of fun. Again, great on a rainy day. We're going to do something different. We're moving from these physics toys into some chemistry toys. And I'm excited about what we're going to be doing. And so today, we're going to be doing something really different. We're going to be doing some chemistry. That's the reminder. If you watched this before, you know that sound. You know that sound means we're going to have to wear goggles for part of this because we're going to use chemicals. Now, before we get into it, you need to talk to mom and dad and parents. A lot of the things that I do and I've done on Mr. Patrick's Laboratory, things you already have in your cabinets. Today, what we're going to be doing with the boys and girls, we're going to be making slime and we're going to be making bouncy balls. Now, they don't last forever. They do come apart over time. But there's some things that if you want to do this, you might have to buy a few things that are outside what you might have at your house. So I'm going to walk through some of the ingredients, and I did some different things this time. I actually wrote down the ingredients as we go along, so if you watch the recording of this, you can pause and look at what you need in order to do it. Now, I'm going to do 2 varieties of slime, and I'm going to teach you how to make bouncy balls. And so, Miss Christie, as she grabs the camera, we're going to talk first about making slime. Now, the ingredients for making slime are going to be, now there's a lot of different varieties, and I've looked them up online, and I've tried some. As a matter of fact, I tried to have some for videos a couple of weeks ago, and I just couldn't get them to work the way I wanted to until I found this one. So if you don't like this one, feel free to check online. Again, I'm not making these up. I'm using ones I found. I'm just showing you how to do it. Here's our ingredient list. To make slime, you're going to need, in the ingredients, it says 4 ounces of white glue. That's school glue, okay? 2 ounces of liquid starch. Now, first thing I'm going to tell you, parents, it's a 2-to-1 ratio, so if you don't want this much, you'll see how much it makes here in a minute. You can do half of that. Just make sure it's a 2-to-1 ratio, and you'll know how when it comes along, okay? So you're going to have 4 ounces of white glue and then 2 ounces of liquid starch. So I'm going to show you what those look like because we don't always have these in our home. Regular school glue, okay, that makes sense. Liquid starch, okay? Now I'm not talking about starch in a spray bottle like you would starch clothes. I'm talking about liquid starch, okay? There are other uses you can have it if you buy it, but this is a lot more starch than you're going to end up using. Now, in one part of what we're going to do with slime, you might also use shaving cream. But we're going to do this one first, and we'll show you how it works. All right, kids, notice I've got my goggles on, okay? So I'm going to end up using glue here, and I'm going to do a small amount, and then I'm going to show you the large amount that I did, okay? It's a 2-to-1 ratio, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some school glue, okay? And then I'm going to use a little starch. Now, here's what's interesting about the chemistry here. What we're going to make is called a polymer, okay? It needs a binding agent. It means it sticks together. For my older kids, if you've done things before where you may have like a model airplane and you have to mix 2 squirt bottles and they solidify and then they're stuck together, it's a binder. So the liquid starch is going to be our binder that we're going to be using in this. Now, learn this the hard way because I had to practice. When you put the starch in, you need to put it slow. Now, I'm going to use a skewer to mix it up. You can use a spoon, okay? But here's what's going to happen. So I have just a little glue. I would do a lot more than this, but I'm going to show you the one I made before we started our video. And I want to put just a little bit of starch. I know I'm going to need more than that, but I want to start mixing it together. Now you'll see immediately it's starting to clump up, okay? It's starting to clump up. It's starting to bind, okay, to itself, okay? Starting to bind. Now I don't have enough starch. Let me take that lid off real quick. And so I want to add just a little at a time. And it's going to be obvious here in a minute when you have enough. So it's got to be like a 2-to-1 ratio. Now notice how it's really starting to not be a liquid anymore. Okay? It's really not starting to be a liquid. And it's really, really, really Okay, so you can see that it's starting to solidify. Okay, and that's like almost there. So keep stirring. There's a point at which, like I just got to, where it's a lot harder to stir. Okay, you know you're getting close. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to grab this up. Let me pull this off the stick, and then I'm going to grab it up. Now, kids, you need to know this. It's sort of nasty at first. Okay, so I'm going to grab this out of there, and then I'm going to start taking it. Okay, and I can already tell what's going to happen here is as I start moving it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start moving it around. Now, I have a very small part of it, but I am mixing it together and I'm stretching it. And what's going to happen is when you have more than this, it's going to get to a point where, see how it's starting to pull it off my fingers? You're getting to the right point. Okay, it's no longer sticky anymore. It's really going to bind to itself. So whatever's stuck to your finger, sort of like if you had gum on you, it starts to pull it off. And so what you want to do is you want to knead it together. Okay, you want to smash it together and pull it and stretch it. You want to get that binder, whoa, dropping it. You want to get that binder wherever you can. Okay, so you want to mix it in. If you start going along and it's too liquidy like this one is right now, and this is not the perfect ratio, it's so small, you would add just a little bit more starch and it starts to harden up. Okay, and so you start working it. Now I'm going to wash this off my hands real quick so I can show you what it really looks like, because you got to play with it. And when I say play with it, you got to really play along with it till you get the right consistency. Now, looking at those ingredients, okay, you can actually see that it says mix starch into the glue slowly and thoroughly. Pull it out of the container and start kneading it around. Okay, so what I've done is I had a baggie, Miss Christie's going to show you, and I have a baggie, and it starts to do this. This is what you want. Okay, it almost looks like pizza dough. Now, here's what happened when I was doing it. When I was going along, man, Miss Christie, this is way better than it was earlier. Okay, this is exactly what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so I start kneading it together, okay, and as I'm starting to push it together, notice it's not sticking to my fingers anymore, okay, and so as I start going along, if it's not binding to itself, then I would hold my hands like this, and Miss Christie would put just a little bit more starch, and I would rub it in and push it together, and then I would stretch it out, and I would do all kinds of stuff to it, okay, and then if it's not binding, then I add a little bit more glue, and then you got to get right to that 2-to-1 ratio. I had to play with it a lot. And then what really happened, what worked best for me, is when it started getting to where, okay, this is working right, I put it in a Ziploc baggie, and I let it sit in the baggie for a while. It finishes binding together. Now, you can add color to that. Man, that is really awesome at this point, okay? It's slick feeling, okay? It's really slick feeling. And so when you put it inside the baggie for a while, here's what happens, okay? And I poured it out so you can't see it. But when it sits in the baggie, it starts to separate, and you start seeing all this liquid. And what happens is if you put too much of your starch, just a little bit too much, all that's needed makes it bind, and then the rest just sits there. And so when I pulled this out and started messing with it, I'm like, okay, this is perfect. And then I poured off the rest of the starch. I didn't need it. It ended up doing it for itself. So again, I took a little bit in my cup. This was not nearly enough to play with. Okay, it says in the instructions like 4 ounces. That's half of this bottle, but I want to use a half of it again. Okay, because I'm going to make bouncy balls out of this. Okay, half of that bottle, add a little starch, mix it in, mix it in. When you start mixing and it's starting to stick to itself and not stick to the container, that's when you want to dig it out and start playing with it. You want to mix it together, knead it together like this. You want to pull on it, push it back together, pull on it, push it back together. And what starts happening is you start exposing a lot of the glue that doesn't have the binder, the starch. And so as you add just a little bit, roll it some more. Okay, and then you add some more, you roll it some more, and all of a sudden, if you go too far, you'll know. Then you have to add a little bit more glue to it. Put it in a baggie, let it sit for about 30 minutes or so, and then pull it out and play with it. Now, I could have added color to it. I just chose not to. It's really pretty cool like this, okay? And then look at it. It just sort of slops, okay? Matter of fact, that's a technical science word. It slops. Watch this. Okay, as I take it, that's some pretty cool stuff. See how that works? Man, that's some cool slime. Now, when you pull it up, it works great because it's already binded to itself. So it takes trial and error. You have to be patient. I will tell you, when I started, I was not being patient. Mr. Christie was having to help me be patient because it wasn't doing what I thought. I wasn't getting the ratio right. Then I got it, and then I could tell, yeah, it's not sticking to my fingers. Now, this is important, kids. When you finish playing with this, you need to wash your hands. Why? because you have glue on them. Well, glue won't hurt you, but you don't need starch all over you. Okay, so you need to wash your hands. It's not as important, but you don't really want it in your eyes. You don't want it in your mouth. You can wash your hands. Now, when you're done with it, put it inside of a baggie, okay, and squeeze the air out of it, and then it'll last a little bit longer, okay, and you can play with it. Now, if it starts to have a lot of liquid, you might want to squeeze it together a little bit before you open the baggie, but you can play with it. How fun is that? I'm going to leave that right there, okay? Making basic slime. Now, actually, I'm going to tell you another one. If you want to ramp it up a little bit, here's the other one I saw. You make slime like this with glue and binder, starch. The one I saw that I tried and wasn't very good, we're going to see what it looks like, is you take glue and shaving cream. Okay, so you're going to take, come here, you're going to take your glue and you're going to have double the amount of glue that you have shaving cream. Now, here's what I found out. I had way too much shaving cream. So I put about the same amount of shaving cream as I have glue. Mix all of that together first before you ever put the binder. Now here's what you got to catch for the chemistry of it. As soon as you have the binder, it makes it all stick together. I can't put shaving cream into this now to make foamy slime because it's already binded to itself. So I have to mix this and this together first. So make sure you shake up your shaving cream, right? You want to have equal amounts of that. Mix it in really good. Go ahead and get the glue mixed up really good with your shaving cream. You can add color if you want to. Then put your binder in there. It's messy, right, Miss Christy?
Yes, sir.
Very, very messy. So I'm going to show you what it looked like. It's not great, but I did it in a bowl, and you can see I tried adding glue to it. Now see the liquid on the bottom? That's the extra starch that I didn't need. Now I haven't touched it in a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and mix this up a little bit. I did not get see all that shaving cream on the top? I didn't get all that shaving cream down in there like I was supposed to before I binded it. And so see how it's binding to that plastic spoon? So when I pull this thing out, it's not the same as that other, okay? It actually feels like a wet sponge because I didn't do it exactly right. Why? I made a mistake. But it wasn't very expensive. Glue's not very expensive, but I will show you this. I'm gonna take this, knock a little bit of this shaving cream off of it, because the rest of the shaving cream is binded in it. And here's what it really looks like. Okay? So that's not so bad. But you see all that shaving cream, it's not as much smooth like that other one was. But now that I washed that shaving cream off, it's getting there if you listen. Hear that? You can hear, it's got a different feel. It's got that soapy feel to it compared to the other slime. And so all of that stuff is all the extra I didn't need. This is what I wanted. And as it sat there, it got better. It was so messy. It was going up my arm. I had shaving cream everywhere. Miss Christy was having to add a little bit of starch to make it bind. So it did similar to this. Okay? Not bad. See, this one runs good. It's trying. Is it perfect? No. It's an experiment. And so if you like the one with shaving cream, and I bet you can do it better than me, you can find some out there that says slime with shaving cream, and you can look it up. All you have to do in the instructions is exactly what you did for this. You're going to have glue, and then you're going to add your shaving cream. Mix the shaving cream and glue together really quick. Put your binder in there. Okay, so basically it's 2 parts of this for 1 part of this, and you bind it together. If you add color, that's fine. And then you got to mix it in, mix it in, and mix it in, and mix it in, and mix it in. Did I say it? Mix it in. Okay? And then when you have leftover like I did, I just washed it off. Let it sit there for a while so it finishes binding. The most important part of this process, kids, is this. You have got to mix it together. You've got to mix all those chemicals, stretch it out. Oh man, this one stretches better before it broke. That was awesome. And so I can bind it together. Making slime. How cool. It's all chemistry. And so it'll sit there for a while. Works great. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave my other one there. I actually like the way this one feels a little bit better. It's just different. Some really cool slime. Okay? And this one is foamy slime. And so you can try either one of them and see what you get out of it. Now, I'm going to wash my hands real quick. Then we're going to make this thing called Bouncy Balls. These are awesome. These are awesome. Okay? Now, let's look at the ingredients for Bouncy Balls here for a minute. Now, parents, this is where you have to buy something that you don't normally have. There's this stuff called Borax. And I had to do some searching for it. Found it at Walmart. It's going to be on the bottom shelf. It's a powder. Okay, so here's the Borax. I took the name off. but it's borax. And the problem with borax, it's not very expensive, but you don't use very much of it. Now, you're gonna need borax powder, you're gonna need white school glue, just like we were doing, cornstarch, which you probably have for cooking, and then food coloring is optional. This time, we will do food coloring, okay? Now, here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need 2 cups, okay? And you do not mix these yet. Cup number 1, you need to take a teaspoon of borax. Wow, that big old box, and all you needed was 1 teaspoon. I know, that's how it works. 1 teaspoon of borax and 2 tablespoons of warm water. Catch that? 2 tablespoons of warm water. Now, if you're watching this video and you want to do this, make sure you pause so you can read these. In the cup 1, 1 teaspoon of borax, 2 tablespoons of warm water. Mix it up so you can have a borax solution. So I've already done that. I've got that already mixed. Now you'll see in here as I swirl it around, there's some of it that still sits on the bottom. This is the binder this time. This works like the starch did in the other one, okay? So I'm gonna put that one away for a second. In cup number 2, I'm gonna do this one for you. In cup number 2, we need 2 tablespoons of glue, okay? So I have some more glue, okay? And actually I have enough in this other bottle, don't need to waste this one. 2 tablespoons of glue, okay? So I'm gonna take something, kids, make sure your mom's okay with you taking 2 tablespoons of glue and putting it in her measuring device, okay? Because you don't want to eat out of this unless you've cleaned it really good. 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of glue, and there was some still hanging out in there. Okay, there's my 2 tablespoons of glue. All right, try not to get it everywhere. Get the glue out, get the glue out, get the glue out. Okay, 2 tablespoons of glue, and then I need 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. So I'm gonna take a teaspoon right here. There's my measuring device, my measuring spoon. 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. So I'm going to take 1 and 2. Now we're going to do food coloring here in just a second, but I'm going to let Miss Christy pick. If you watch the videos, guess what color she's going to pick? I already know. What color do you want, Miss Christy?
Red.
Oh, I thought she was going to say green. She got me. Okay? She got me. She knew. I said it and she heard me. So I'm going to take 3 drops of food coloring. Okay? Now, I want to mix this together. Now, what's going to happen is, kids, whenever you use cornstarch in the kitchen, it thickens up. Okay, so whenever you have like gravy or other things like that, cornstarch is used to thicken it up, and you will see that that glue is getting thicker than normal. And so that red that I have is more of a pink right now, but that's okay. I like that color. That works out all right. Now, this reaction is very fast. Now, do you remember what I said the binder was? Is it going to be liquid starch like we did last time? Nope. It's going to be that borax solution. It's going to bind to it. Now I'm going to get that really mixed good, because as soon as I put it in there, boy, things happen really, really fast. So here we go. Here's cup number 1. I'm going to show you the instructions right here on the paper that say, add 1 teaspoon of cup 1 to all of cup 2. Mix and then roll in your hands. Okay? So I've got it all mixed. There's cup 2. Cup number 1, I need a teaspoon. And here's my borax solution. I'm going to swirl it around real good. Okay, it should have been in warm water. It's cooled off a little bit, but that's good enough. I'll make this work. There's 1 teaspoon of it, okay? And I want you to watch how fast this is. As soon as I start mixing that thing, woo, that's fast, okay? That is really fast. Now, I've got the bouncy ball material on the stick, so I'm gonna pull it off. I'm gonna go on the other side of the table so Miss Christy can watch what I'm doing, okay? Now, the binder's not all the way through it, okay? It's not all the way through it, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that and I'm going to start rolling it, okay? Look how messy that is. Now, this has got to work. It worked on the last time, but here we go. Start rolling that together. Now, here's what's going to be really important. When it starts sticking to you like this, stick your fingers in the borax and start rolling around, rolling around, rolling around. You're trying to get all of that inside of that bouncy ball, okay? And that bouncy ball starts coming together. Now, the warm helps me a lot, okay? And I didn't have it exactly warm. It's starting to do it, okay? But as I go along and I'm rubbing, look, it's all over my hands, all over my hands, okay? What I want to do is I want to have a smooth surface, so I keep adding a little bit of borax to it, okay? And so what's going to happen is, there it goes, okay? Miss Christy's going to give me just a little bit of a pour on my hand, perfect. okay? And what's gonna happen is, it starts to form on the outside. And so what's gonna happen is it starts solidifying. It feels like gum drying up. Now it's all over my hands and I know that. But what I wanna do here for a minute is I wanna get a smooth outside, okay? Before this bouncy ball finishes, oh, look at it sticking, come off. Yeah, it's working right, look at it working, it's sticking to everything. It's doing what it's supposed to. Get on there, get on there, get all that pink off. Okay, and so what I wanna do is I wanna roll that ball around. Now, here's what you need to know, kids. Okay, borax is on my hands. Is it gonna hurt me? No, it's like detergent, but it's used for an additive for detergent. It's been around for a long, long time, okay? And so what I wanna do is I wanna make sure that I do not put my hands in my mouth, okay? I do not want my hands in my mouth. I wanna make sure I don't get it in my eyes. I've still got my goggles on, don't I? Yep, so I've got my goggles on. Now, that got really messy. Take that borax, rub a little on the outside of it, and that'll smooth the outside cover of it. Now, I'm rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, rolling it. I've already kneaded it. And if I'm gonna make a bouncy ball, I want it to be sort of round. So I gotta work with it a little bit. Okay, so watch. This, it's only been together just about a minute or so, watch. See how it bounces? You're like, that doesn't bounce very big. Okay, this is a chemical version. This is not one made of rubber or anything like that. And so it's smooth on the outside. So I'm gonna show you the one that I made before we started. Okay, and I just put it into a baggie. Okay, now when it sat on the baggie, it slowly flows. Okay, so I gotta rub it back around a little bit, but I want you to see what has happened. Watch how this one bounces after a while. See how it bounces? It really bounces pretty good. And it's got a flat side on it, so it's not bouncing like I want it to. Oh, there it was. There it goes. And so it's a bouncy ball, and so you can make them different colors. She happened to pick the same color that I did. Maybe she didn't know what I was doing. But I got it all mixed together, and so I'm gonna round this out pretty good, and so I can really bounce it, and it doesn't come apart, okay? And so I can bounce it around. Now, after a while, here's what you need to know, kids. It doesn't last forever, okay? It's just made from home products, and so it doesn't last forever, so when I bounced it really hard, see how it broke? I threw it too hard, okay? And so it starts to come apart, okay? That one's been sitting there. It starts to lose moisture, and so in this case, since I'm not gonna use this one anymore, look at that. But look, it's all bound together, okay? All that binding that's holding all that together, it's really rubbery. It doesn't, it stretches a little bit, but it's not like the slime, okay? That's why the binder's different. So let's go back to the one I just made. Okay, so what I wanna do is I wanna take that thing, I wanna roll it around and make as much of a circle as I can. And so if you make 2, 3, 4 of them, okay, you can have a red one and a blue one and a green one, and you can play with them. See, they do bounce. Now, why did this one break? It started to dry out. It's drier on the inside. So whenever you're done playing with it, this is very important. You want to put it in a baggie, okay? Maybe a little bit of borax in there with it, just to keep it moist, not a lot. And then you want to seal it, and you want to get all the air out of it. Air dries it out, okay? And so you want to dry it up so you can use it a couple of times. Is it going to last forever? No, it's not. But how cool is that? What did we learn today? We learned how to do some chemistry. Now, but Miss Christie, I have borax on my hands. What am I supposed to do? Wash my hands. So I'm gonna do that real quick, okay? Why? Because I wanna make sure I'm demonstrating all the things the boys and girls need to do too. So I wash my hands really good to get that chemical off me, okay? Is it gonna hurt me? Is it gonna burn me? No. But I don't need it on me and I don't need it in my eyes. So I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. And so what did we learn today? We learned some chemistry. We learned how to make some slime. Check this out. Here's my slime. Oh yeah, that stuff is awesome. It did so good, Miss Christie. I didn't think it was ever going to work right. Okay? Hint. I didn't add any color, but sometimes when it sat there a little while, it really had a chance to bind to itself. Okay? We actually made a foamy version. It's not so bad either. Check this out. Okay? Feels different. This one turned out okay. I thought it was horrible. This one's not too bad. Feels weird. Why? It's foamy. Why? It's slime. Slime's not supposed to feel good. Achoo! Oh, it's blue! Okay, it's not my slime. And so we think we made slime today, and we used a binder, and we learned that there's some chemistry to it. Does it last forever? No. So we used a binder in a different way, and we made bouncy balls using borax. Okay? What a cool thing to do with some of these household items. Did you have fun? I did. I like doing chemistry. I enjoyed all the things that we did with physics too. We're having a great time on Mr. Patrick's Laboratory. We did some chemistry. Always being careful of wearing my goggles. Why? We're doing chemistry. See you next time.